What's up, everybody? Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today, from Star Wars The Black Series, we are finally taking a look at the Super Battle Droid and C-3PO B1 Battle Droid 2-pack. This is easily one of the most anticipated sets of the year, mainly because of the Super Battle Droid, a figure that we have wanted for a very long time. Actually, it was our most wanted figure for about 7-ish years in a row. So this is an absolutely monumental occasion here for the channel and for Justin and I as collectors. And spoiler alert, the Super Battle Droid is great. But just like always, you know, I will be giving a super in-depth review of the figure. And of course, we're going to take a look at C-3PO as well. I don't want to discount the C-3PO that is included in this set because I love getting the random deep cut things like this 3PO. Now, do I wish we could have gotten a plain battle droid head? Absolutely, but you'll see later in the review once I have the figure open why I assume they didn't include such a thing. So I don't want to waste a whole lot of time here. Let's take a quick look at the package and then we'll just jump right into the set. So this is a 2-pack in the Attack of the Clones box. You can see the nice red there, the window packaging. It still is the slanted angled mural art, which you can see 3PO and the Super Battle Droid there looking real nice. Just like all the recent 2-packs we've been looking at on the channel, it does not have a number, but you can see more zoomed in images of the mural art. And then here is the bio, which actually only pertains to C-3PO, but if you want to pause it, go ahead and read it now. We got the barcode on the bottom. And so we're going to jump into this. We'll take a look at the 2 accessories included with 3PO, and then we'll move on to the figures themselves. So there are no accessories for the Super Battle Droid, but with 3PO, we do get the Battle Droid Blaster, which does actually have some silver dry brushing on it, which is nice to see. It's been a while since we've actually gotten some paint on some weaponry in the Black Series, so it's pretty cool to see that on this blaster. And then we also have the backpack piece, which has some nice paint app details on it. Always great to see something that has some detail like this that goes on the back of the figure. As we all know, Hasbro really doesn't like to paint the backs of the figures, but yeah, this is more of the Geonosius style, but has plenty of little bits of weathering there. Of course, we got the peg hole right here. It does not include the separate like antenna communicator piece, but these antennas here still do pop out just fine. And so it's nice to get these 2 accessories. I wish we could have gotten something for the Super Battle Droid. Perhaps maybe some blast effects or maybe even a interchangeable wrist rocket effect. But there is a single release coming for the Super Battle Droid, so who knows? Maybe they're saving that stuff for that release. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the figures. All right, and here is 3PO and the Super Battle Droid out of the packaging, looking absolutely incredible. Just seeing them here on the rotating base, it just doesn't even feel real that we finally have the Super Battle Droid. Now, of course, you'll notice that this version is pretty weathered. It's actually technically a scene-specific Battle Droid to the Battle of Geonosis, which makes this set make a whole lot more sense, because I know a lot of people at first were kind of taken aback by the randomness of the 2-pack, but it's got that little blaster bolt on the back, so it fits in with the scene, and it's technically the battle droid that falls on top of C-3PO. So pretty interesting. I'm curious to see if the single release is going to have all of the different weathering effects on it and what the differences are going to be. We don't have a release date for that, so for now the 2-pack here is the only way to get the Super Battle Droid, and for someone like me, it's nice to get a cool deep cut version of C-3PO as well. So let's go ahead, we're going to get him off the stand. We'll take a look at C-3PO first, and then we'll jump into the Super Battle Droid. And getting up close here, you can see that, of course, this is the same old B1 Battle Droid body that we've gotten many times in the Black Series, now with a C-3PO head. You can see we've got some really crazy green paint apps on 3PO's head, which to the naked eye don't look too bad, but on camera it is like super bright, vibrant, but it does carry over to the back of the head, which is a nice little detail there. And so I was thinking too, you know, that maybe this was just going to be a swappable piece here, but the neck is actually sculpted into this piece. You can still do the weird extendo trick, But of course, this isn't meant to be removable. I was thinking initially, you know, oh, we could have just been able to swap this out with a B1 head, but this piece is not meant to fully come off, so I can see why that they just sculpted this new head piece on and then chose to not include a B1 head as well. So who knows, maybe down the road we'll get a B1 with the 3PO body. I would actually be down to get that as well. And so while the head does look pretty nice, but we do also have some pretty impressive weathering throughout the figure. You can see plenty of dirt, grit, and grime, even little bits of silver on the arms and on the forearms, down to the legs as well. So quite a bit of weathering on this figure. It's always nice to see. The more paint, the merrier, especially these days in the Black Series. And as a kid, this was always a fun and cool moment to me. Obviously, the Battle of Geonosis is an amazing moment in Attack of the Clones, but my little kid brain couldn't help but always be entertained by 3PO essentially adopting the personality of a B1 and then vice versa for the B1 head on 3PO's body. And who would have ever thought we would have got a figure of this version of 3PO? So such a deep cut, something I totally love, and I always appreciate when the Black Series just gives us these real oddball, off-the-wall looks. So to me, I'm happy to have this 3PO. Now though, let's take a look at the star of the show, the Super Battle Droid, finally in the Black Series after all this time, and it is definitely worth the wait. I might even dare say this is the best droid, period, that we have in the Black Series at the current moment. The engineering that they put into this figure definitely made it worth the wait. I feel like if we would have got this earlier in the line, we could have been plagued with some serious issues, but in this instance, I've come to realize that this was well worth waiting. As most of you know, a lot of Black Series droids have trouble standing, so I'm happy to report right off the bat that this figure has no issues standing and is actually very sturdy. We got some nice tight joints on it too. So let's just take a look at the details now. We do have some kind of exaggerated features. There is some really heavy blue paint on the head, which it's a nice metallic blue, but I don't really think that the Super Battle Droid's head is that blue. However, not really a big deal. And then same thing with the weathering. We did talk about the weathering quite extensively on the streams, on Figure It Out, all that stuff. It is very obviously photoreal applied, but again, once I had it in hand, it looks so much better. Of course, you could tell if we get close, you could see all those little dots and everything like that, but pull it back a little bit and I think it's just fine. And again, this being a scene-specific battle droid, I'm giving it a pass. We do have a nice little bit of red right there on the chest piece, and we have plenty of paint also throughout the figure. Some really nice bits of silver on the shoulders, a little bit of gunmetal gray as well. Kind of looks a little plain on the arms, and I do wish we could have got some paint detail on the blaster piece there, but that's not anything major, and honestly, if I wanted to paint it up, I could do that very easily. It would only take a few moments. On the back of the figure, there's that blaster mark that I was telling you about, so this does officially make it a scene-specific battle droid, which is just cool. Always nice to see a little bit of variety and paint on the back of the figure. Again, paint on this figure's back and 3PO's. Pretty crazy stuff coming from Hasbro. In the crotchal region, we have more silver paint apps there, looking absolutely wonderful. And then down to the legs, we have more of that sandy look there as well. So for this being a brand new sculpt, we actually do get quite a bit of paint on it. And like we always talk about, you know, paint is very rare these days in the Black Series. So when we do actually get some, it's always worth pointing out. And you can just tell that it makes the figures look so much better. And then we do also get some really cool hidden features here. So not only can we pop the head off of the Super Battle Droid here to reveal the underneath eye, which is painted, we can also pop the chest piece off as well. So they've kind of given us a 2-for-1 special here, where we can essentially have a battle damaged Super Battle Droid, like we see in the game Republic Commando. You know, when you start shooting up the Super Battle Droids enough, their armor pops off. So this is a really cool, nice hidden detail. They didn't have to do this. This was totally unexpected. And there's even more paint. You know, we got little bits of white there under the chest as well. And again, some really nice sculpted details here. And so with this little feature, I definitely fully expect a Gaming Greats Republic Commando Super Battle Droid to be coming in the near future. And just in general, sculpt-wise, I think they did a killer job here on the SBD. So happy they went with a theatrical look. We were concerned for a while that they were going to do maybe a stylized or more Clone Wars or Mandalorian looking version. So we were so happy to see that this is a classic prequel era design, and I think they absolutely killed the sculpt. This thing looks like it just jumped right off the screen into my review station here, and I couldn't be more pleased with how this turned out. So I am super excited about this figure. I can't believe how good it ended up turning out, and I am afraid of what future Nate is going to do when we get the opportunity to start army building these guys, because I know already I'm gonna need at least 4 of them for the shelf. That's how much this figure has truly impressed me. And so we'll do some quick articulation rundown. I'm not going to go through the entire B1 figure. We've reviewed it many times on the channel. It is the same figure, but what I do want to demonstrate here is just the new 3PO head, because you do actually get a little bit of up, get a little bit of down, and you do have some side to side here. You can see the head moves independent of that neck piece there. But now hopping into the Super Battle Droid, we of course have no head articulation, as to be expected. I mean, you know, due to the design, the heads don't move in the movies or TV or anything like that anyways. So we'll jump into the arms. They are ball jointed, so they can move all the way around. The barbell joint on the inside of the shoulder here gives you a nice effect of butterfly joints, which works very well. The arm itself has a swivel at the top of the elbow and at the bottom of the elbow. It is single jointed, and you do get just about 90 degrees, but it's fine. I mean, this is a droid. The hand has a horizontal peg, which works perfectly for blasting all those Jedi, and it can rotate around as well. As far as a crunch goes, the SBD can go forward just a little bit, but just like most Black Series figures, can go back very far as well. It is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of side to side and rotation there as well. For the legs, being a droid, they can kick all the way up, no problems at all. Again, more ball jointed goodness down at the hips there. The SBD can do the splits about that far. We do actually have thigh swivel. Again, kind of crazy, unexpected, but it is there. Single jointed knee that rotates at the top, but not the bottom. We have a single knee. It gives you a little bit more than 90, just a tad. And then down to the feet, you can see these are nice and sturdy. They can go down very far, go up a decent amount, and he does have ankle pivot and peg holes. So we've got some very impressive articulation here for the Super Battle Droid. And one thing I also want to demonstrate here is just how sturdy it is. This figure has balance on point. I mean, just take a look at how easy that was for me to pose him on one leg, and he is just standing there like a champ. So even though this figure is top heavy, definitely has a lot of heft built towards the top of the figure, the engineering that they put behind this and the tightness of the joints has really lent this figure to have some really, really stable posing options. I don't think very many other droids in the line could actually stand on one leg for that long, let alone stand, period. So it's great to see that they definitely put a lot of thought into the stability of the Super Battle Droid, and it paid off. So while I don't think you're necessarily going to keep the Super Battle Droid in a running pose, I just wanted to demonstrate that, yeah, it's so sturdy that you can get him to stand on one leg, even if it was just, you know, for a short period of time there. I'm sure if I worked at it a little bit harder, I probably could get it to stand permanently on one leg. And that's truly impressive in my opinion. Like I said, this figure does have a little bit of heft to it, so the fact that these thin legs and these feet can support the weight of the figure is just incredible stuff. They really, really knocked the Super Battle Droid out of the park. Even just standing here, arm extended, looking like he's about to blast some Jedi dogs. This figure just looks magnificent. And so with that being said, let's jump into some comparisons here. We're going to be going through a ton of Black Series figures to show you that not only is this figure painted, well articulated, a great sculpt, but it is also properly scaled as well. And so we'll start things out here with the brand new resculpted R2-D2 and the Clone Wars Magna Guard. Then we have a couple of B1s. We have the original tan release, and then we also have the Geonosis Battle Droid, which it is interesting if you look at 3PO and the Geonosis Battle Droid, you could tell actually the browns are slightly different, so that might be a minor nitpick for some. Next up, we've got Count Dooku and Jango Fett. And like I was saying, if you take a look at screenshots from Attack of the Clone, there's a really great side-by-side of Dooku with the Super Battle Droid, and this just looks perfect. Now we'll jump into some clone troopers. We have the 187th Purple Clone that's on the 2020 body, and then we also have Boss from Republic Commando. And we'll follow those up with the brand new 2023 body Phase 1 501st Grunt, and the plain 2023 body Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Again, looking really nice here with the scale. Next up, let's move into some Attack of the Clones Jedi. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. We have Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. Closing out the Attack of the Clones figures, we have Padme, and then moving on to some general Clone Wars figures, we've got the brand new release of Mace Windu. And the last couple Black Series figures that we're going to go over are the Target exclusive Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Again, across the board, I think they just totally nailed the scale. And for the final comparison of the video, we have right smack dab in the middle, the amazing Bandai model kit of General Grievous. And so there you have it. There was my review of the Super Battle Droid and C-3PO Battle of Geonosis 2-pack. This was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive set. Forgot to mention that it's still available if you want to pick it up. Like I said, there is a single release of the Super Battle Droid coming, but for now, this is the only way to get this figure. And personally, I think it's well worth it. Like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of deep cut, obscure, different characters like this version of C-3PO, so I was totally on board with this set from the get-go. And if you couldn't tell by everything I said in the review, yes, of course, the Super Battle Droid is the star of the show here. Hasbro absolutely knocked it out of the park. It's got tons of paint, great articulation, fun hidden details. I really cannot wait to army build this guy and just have a ton of them spread across my shelves in my various different displays. You know, we're going to need some for Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars, Mandalorian, so we're going to need plenty of battle droids to fill in some of those holes on the shelf. So I say, bring them on. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. I got to give a huge shout out and a special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you next time.